Alright guys, so I just thought I'd do a quick video on hotkeys. You should have them set up. So here on Norse, what we're going to do, just watch how I do the start. So to start with, I've already got this set to 0. So what I've actually done there, using my hotkeys, I've changed group 0 to actually being on my tilde key. So that's the one to the left of your 1 key. And this way, it just makes it easy to keep your hand to the left side of your keyboard. So that will be basically your town center hotkey. But on top of that, I've also actually got Find Next Town Center, which is also very, very handy. So I'll cover that a little bit later. But to start with, we'll just, as you can see, I've got my scouts down to 1 and 2. So it's very useful to have hotkeys 1 to 4 pretty much tied up with units. So you generally want scout on 1. If you're Roman, you might have engineer on 2, or Norse have your second scout on 2, and then otherwise use 2 to 4 for your army hotkeys. Another thing you might want to do with hotkeys, make sure conflicts is on, and you can always just make sure that any serious conflicts that are mucking things around you can change. But generally it's not really a problem. What you are going to want to do, go to your Find Unit hotkeys, and you'll notice most of the buildings, it's control plus the hotkey that you used to build them. So I've actually gone through and I've taken the control part off for armory, market, dock, town center, storehouse, and ox cart. And it just makes it a little bit easier. I think I've even got it set up for barracks and maybe stable and range. But anyway, just having those macro ones at least is very useful for being able to switch between buildings and take multiple upgrades. So I'm inland. I was just about to say, I thought this was inland, but it looks like there's no lakes being spawned. Got one down here at the bottom. So again, this way, you can jump straight to all your docks, and even, you know, have a much better time managing your unit production between them, or even just being aware of what's going on at them, because you can switch between them all. And you can also have them on hotkeys. So I've sort of got a little list of my preferred hotkey setup overall, but at the same time, sometimes I will, sometimes I won't sort of min-max the overall amount of control group hotkeys. Because yeah, I'd like to have these on 6, but at the same time, once it's built, I'll be able to use the Find Unit key to get straight to it. I'll only have to press the same hotkey I used to actually build it. So we can bring these back home. Oops, there we go. Do this and click the wrong block. I mean, click the wrong scout. So yeah, I've also got it as my Find hotkey as well as on number 6. We're going to be a little bit of a slow age up, a little bit of a slow dock start here, so don't copy this build as something super efficient, because it's really not. Yeah, I'll be able to show off that Find hotkey as well. So it's just patrolling around. For the rest of my hunts, switch between my scouts, just make sure I've got one keeping tabs on what the AI is doing. Just pretend it's a player. So I've actually got the ability to switch between these both through hotkeys and just through pressing. Alright, it's not going to let me switch stocks. D. It's a bit of a shame. I don't know why that's not working today. Usually that works fine. Well over gathering here on wood, but I'm also going to be able to go for a market here. Just to show you guys. I'll put this on 9, but at the same time, I've also got the ability to jump to it with M for market. Armories is another one. So it'll be more efficient with taking your armory upgrades. I can show you that. Yeah, sometimes I just get lazy and click on the map. Which you can do if you're pretty confident that you'll be quick at it. So yeah, it's nice to have docks on individual hotkeys, because then you can actually just make sure you're switching between them properly, and you're not just necessarily queuing up, say, fishing ships at a dock you don't need any more ships at. What are you doing? Walking the wrong way. Go this way. I don't know why they're doing that. So you can switch between our docks like so. What I can actually look at doing is binding this up on any of those same hotkeys I'd normally have a dock on. But just say, you know, I'm up to 3 fishing boats on this. This was my 6, so I'll take that off. Got this one still on 7, and this way I can still, you know, get my temper and stuff. Well, I've gathered really poorly in this. I'll go for this down here. So I can show you multiple town centres, market, down it up. If I want, I can go for just another safe market at home. Just a macro market, basically. Let's go into the further town centre. I'm not sure if that's exactly the right space I need, but fuck it. Anything else I really need to go over here? So yeah, make sure you got allow conflicts ticked, because it will let you actually have things like build hotkeys and find hotkeys set up on the same key. The template's really nice on yours. But yeah, having find town centre, I can switch between the two, which is useful if I want to actually set up resources. This makes it much easier to actually figure out what you might be over gathering on. Both my markets here, so I can also press M to switch between my markets as well. So I want to make sure I'm getting coinage at the right market or something. Can do. I'll go for another armory. This will be very useful for min-maxing your armory upgrades. Oh yeah, I was just going to upgrade towers. So we'll put these both on 6, and these days you actually can set up hotkeys for these, but I'm just lazy, I'm just not used to doing it. So if you've got these all on 6, I'll just cancel that for a second. If I queue up 2 at the same time, it'll always go to the latest built one. Oh sorry, the early, yeah, I thought it was the latest built, no, I thought that was the older one. Anyway, it always goes to one of the buildings if you just select the hotkey and do it. But what you can do is use your find next armory, and that way you make sure you've got both upgrades being queued concurrently, because you want to basically have as much things being done as early as you can and as efficiently as you can. So get sword rage here. I think I've covered pretty much everything I needed to actually cover here. I suppose I could go over the army hotkeys. I tend not to really do a lot of find on them, but I do have my find idle villager set on F1, my find all land army set on F2. So if you go I've got reset camera on F3 as well. That's another thing, so I can do spin around with just shift and scroll, which I believe is a setting you've actually got to enable here. Yeah, allow camera rotation. So make sure you got that ticked, and then just make sure you've got reset camera bound to a button that's easy for you to remember. Because then, you know, say you've got to reposition something here, you know, min-max your storehouse placement or something at a funny angle, or your wood gatherer distribution. It's a lot easier to do so. But yeah, if we go back to where is it? Find unit. Yeah, select all idle villages. I got that on F1. All land military I got on F2. So no scouts or priests included, which is nice. You can actually select all military, I believe, but the problem is it selects all scouts, all priests, and all ships. Well, all military ships. So it can be a bit of a pain in the ass to get used to using that one properly. Yeah, I've got my building hotkeys on pretty much the same thing as standard. Upgrades. You also have to use my select individual town centers to make sure I'm rallied to where I want to be. And yeah, F1 for idle villages. Because it'll work for fishing ships as well, as you just saw. I'm being a bit lazy and clicking on the map for things, but I know I can get away with it at the moment, so I'm just going to do it. But yeah, I've got a military production on 5. And I've actually got, yeah, select individual barracks, which is nice for just making sure I can get upgrades on simultaneous buildings, because yeah, again, if you click the one structure and do that, you're obviously waiting, whereas if you just go boom boom, they're both going concurrently. I tend to actually pick a lot of these because I'm just lazy, but you know, you really should just use S or A or D or F or whatever you gotta press. Just start picking up that food eco. Do that. But yeah guys, that's just a bit of an overview of the hotkeys. So I'm just alt-tabbing a bit just to make sure I've got everything on the list. All over. Number 8 is a weird hotkey. I tend not to actually have anything bound to it. So I've got this on 9, this on 7, armories on 6. But I could always just do away with actually needing an armory hotkey. Like say I had to actually make better use of the docks. I could always just use just Y for that. Normally, I don't know why that's prioritizing longship. I think you used to, oh, no, that's right. Yeah, find next dock tends to not work as well because of the warship hotkey. But the rest of the find hotkeys tend to work quite well. Like find next storehouse is extremely useful. It's probably the most useful of all the find hotkeys. Yeah guys, and then what I might do, you know, say with my army, get a little bit more in the way of raiders here, so I've actually got a bit of raiding army. Sort of show you what reasonable, not necessarily great, AI just tends to not react well to the scouts. So we've got these infantry as a primary force. The beauty of having select all land army is it makes it much easier to actually set this sort of stuff up. So I can chuck these guys on 2 now. Not worry about the scout because I don't really care about him at this point. Chuck these guys on 3 for instance. Still have 1 scout I'm paying attention to. Just get this little bugger killed, doesn't really matter. This way I can actually well actually upgrade with the cavalry. between the cavalry and the infantry. For that, guys. So, you know, that's basic army control group stuff. And yeah, I think I pretty much covered it. Find hotkeys can be very useful. You know, say I'm being attacked down at one town centre, I can't just press this because it's going to go back to the town centre at the back. I can use this to actually navigate between all of them, using the find town centre hotkey. F1 lets me see, yeah, all idlers, so, you know, I know both these lakes are clear, so I can just delete these, set the villagers back to work, and Bob's your uncle. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Let's get this AI murdered.